Hi everyone! So in the previous video I explained how to make 360 images. If you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend it because we're going to be building off the knowledge from that video in this one. I'm assuming you already have your image or images ready, and now it's time to mess with them and turn them into a video for YouTube. So first, you'll need both Adobe After Effects and Adobe Premiere Pro. I don't really recommend anything else. It might be possible in other video editors. I see no reason why not. I'm just trying to save you all from having a bad time. You're probably going to need a lot of hard drive space and maybe even an external hard drive depending on what you want to do. I've had some very large file sizes while working with the animated sections of my video, the biggest being 230 gigabytes so far. So please keep that in mind when you're attempting to animate anything in this format. But I have learned some better practices since then, and I will try and pass those on to you to save you any unneeded grief. But that's my warning. A nice bonus tool set to get your hands on is the Metal Skybox Studio if you're working with a version of After Effects that is earlier than 2018. I'm pretty sure they've been acquired by Adobe now, and they're actually part of the program. So if you're coming to this tutorial far into the future, this probably won't be a problem for you. I think they're under immersive video. I'm not sure where exactly about in After Effects though. I might do its own tutorial on that in the future, but I need to get a better handle on that side of things before I attempt to explain it to someone else. We won't need them for this video, but I think it's important to know there is a tool set out there that allows you to convert non-360 elements into 360 footage within After Effects. But I do think you need a pretty good PC for that, and my laptop does okay for what it is, but it is not a monster beast gaming PC. So there's two ways to really go about this: easy mode and hard mode. So for easy mode, if you're just after a static image that you can look around in while the music plays, you only need Premiere Pro. You only need this program here. You can drag the image into Premiere, pair it with the music you like you would if you were making a regular still image video, export that as an MP4, and then you're pretty much done, aside from injecting the metadata, which we'll get into at the end. If you do want animated elements within the image, within the 360 image, you do have to start getting a little cleverer. What you actually want to animate is up to you. Frame by frame animation you can do in Premiere, like here as an example, I did a couple of different versions of Gumi. She's her own PNG on top of the background, and then it just changes, so she's, okay, quality drop. But yeah, it just changes frame by frame over like 2 frames each, and then she's back to not blinking. So that's that, and that's how I got the eye movement. You want to try and have everything as frame-by-frame animations if it is possible, because it will save you a lot of grief, and again, you can just do it in Premiere. It's only for elements where you have to make it in After Effects, like a waveform or particle effects or anything like that, that you will have to be very clever about. I do not suggest that you go and render out a full animated video in 360 if you can get away with rendering anything at all in Premiere. You're going to have a bad time if you do this. Don't do it. Don't do it. Instead, we're going to try and be as cheap as possible. Only render out the animated parts and not the entire thing. And we're going to be cropping the footage and then overlaying the animated parts and putting it all together within Premiere Pro at the end. Okay, so I just had to stop recording for a quick second to open After Effects because my computer's being dumb. So for my first 360 video, I covered Happy Shape, and I wanted the original video embedded in my own image because I thought that's how it had to be, actually. I'm not sure why, but I just assumed that you couldn't just have one static image, which I was wrong about. You can. I would show you the project, but I deleted them all off. So I'll be redoing it here because this is fairly simple and easy and a good demonstration. So my animated element in this Happy Shape video was the original video itself, and it was stretched and distorted to take up the space on the TV. So I will just go ahead and redo that now. And that is that done. If I wanted to, if this wasn't a tutorial, I would have gone in and done a much better job there, and hopefully I did a better job on the actual Happy Shape video, but that's the basic idea of it. So then when you want to come to rendering it, you hide the image underneath and you just have the animated element as its own thing. So once all the animated elements are done and made, we then go down to this little region of interest button, click it, and then you want to just select your animated area. This will be completely different for every animated element that you come up with. Hopefully it doesn't take up the entire 6,000 by 3,000 canvas, otherwise you're going to be in for a giant file size and a lot of time waiting for the render to render out. The closer you can get it, the better for the crop. So I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to go to full as well, 100%. And so this isn't good enough. I'd have to really get in there. Like, can I go see through? Perfect, okay. Because there's some black around the border, so I'd want to get as close as I possibly could. Like every single pixel I can save and not have to render out a million times is what you want. So like that. It really does make a difference. I really can't understate this. For one really small element, the exported file was like 80 gigabytes, and then I trimmed it down a little bit more. It was 60 gigabytes and it took half the time to render. So yeah, once you've cropped it, you go to composition and then crop comp to region of interest, like that. And then we're going to be exporting this out. So you got a composition, add to render queue, you know, the regular deal. And then under output module, you want to click the little drop down arrow. You want to click the little drop down arrow. And then you want to go to lossless with alpha. And then you'll be saving it out as a raw AVI file, which will be huge. 60 gigabyte, 80 gigabyte, 230 gigabyte. So keep all of that in mind when you are choosing the save location. It compresses down to a normalish file size once it's been through Premiere and exported as an MP4. So I'm just gonna actually let this render for the purpose of the tutorial demonstration, so I will cut to Premiere once this is all done. So once it exports, you then go into Premiere and match it up with everything else and make sure it's all lined up, which I will be doing in a second. I would like to just show you the properties, the fact that the tiny little video turned into nearly 7 gigabytes, and that size, it took about an hour to render, and as you increase the canvas size, the file gets exponentially bigger, so definitely keep that in mind. And then you just go in, line it up, and position it correctly using the effect controls. I'm not going to do that here because it's kind of a waste. You already know how the final video turned out, so that's not really a problem. Then you just render it out as a regular MP4, and then that is the video made, aside from injecting the metadata, just like we did with the image, to make sure that YouTube and I suppose anywhere else reads it correctly. So the help is over on YouTube's help page, and then is it here? Whereabouts is it? There's a bunch of initial audio preparing for upload. Ah, here it is. Yeah, the 360 metadata app, and you just want to download whichever system you're working with. And then once that's downloaded, you get it alongside your video, open up the exe, and then wait for it to load up and stuff. You should get this screen, and then once it's all booted up, it'll ask you to open your video. You want the first option? Well, okay, first of all, you need to load in the video. Did I just have it on I had it on the desktop, I'll put it on there. And then it will recognize that your video is 360 spherical. You don't want to take these unless you have them. And then just go inject metadata and then save the video accordingly. You'll get a duplicate of the video that is with the metadata injected, and then you want to upload that to YouTube. And that's it. You just upload it as a regular YouTube video and then test it out maybe on private first if that's if you really want to check it before making it public. It might take a little time to process, more than a regular video, but YouTube will work it out eventually. I think it does say that, yeah, wait for the 360 effect to process. It may take up to an hour. I haven't had it take up to an hour. It usually does it pretty quickly. It just takes a little longer to process overall. And that's it really. That's how to upload the videos to YouTube and how to make them. I will have a part 3 to this tutorial covering some extra things, but that covers everything that you need to actually make the videos and get to the point where I am with mine. I'd love to see other people experiment with this, especially in this community, so if you have an interest at all, if you make anything, please feel free to show me. I would love to see. If you still have any questions, of course you can always leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you very much for watching.